So with taxation, you know that we are expecting that everyone will comply voluntarily. But unfortunately, that is not the situation. So we have people who are trading, expected to register. As he said, they are registrable taxpayers, but then have not registered for VAT purposes.
Why not?
Non-compliance. So there's a tool that is to ensure that people are discouraged from being non-compliant, in addition to other measures that GRA regularly implements to get all registrable importers or taxpayers on board.
So with this new introduction of the measure, upfront payment means that at the point of entry of the goods, what happens? So
at the point of entry, once you've imported, you are a registrable importer. At the point of clearing your goods on the ICOM system, this 12.5% of the customs value will be imposed on what you have to pay before you'll be able to clear the goods from the ports.
And what kind of goods are we talking about? All imported goods?
We are talking about taxable goods that attract VAT. There are other goods that are not that do not attract VAT. We have those goods in the VAT Act. When you go to our first schedule of the exempt schedule, you will see that you have specific goods that the law allows them not to attract VAT.
For example,
exempt like machinery that goes to the mine site. We have the fuel, petrol, and diesel. They are all not do not attract a VAT at port of entry. So all other goods will attract goods that are for government use, for diplomatic use, goods that are for free zones, goods that are for transshipment to other African countries, goods that are just for temporary use in Ghana will not attract the upfront payments.
When you say upfront, it means that you pay that. Does that suggest that it will be paid back to you?
Yes.
So as you are saying with the name, it's upfront. So once you are at that point, you are not compliant, as discussed earlier. You have not registered for VAT, and to ensure that there's a punitive measure, you are being asked to pay the 12.5. After the clearance of your goods, you have the opportunity to quickly get to any GRA office and register. Once you register, and you have, so firstly, for you to be able to recover this upfront payment, after clearing your goods, subsequently, you need to pay, for you to register and qualify for the upfront. First, you must have paid the upfront anyway. Then you have to register for VAT purposes with GRA. You should have filed all outstanding returns. You should have made payments of all tax liabilities. Once you've satisfied these conditions, you apply to the Commissioner General through our taxpayers portal. Once Commissioner General is satisfied that you've fulfilled all obligations, you are entitled for a recovery of this upfront that you've paid.
Okay. Would you like to add some more, or?
So that is it. Once you satisfy everything, you pay. And then Commissioner General, what he does is, if he goes through all your application and he sees that your application is good, what he can do is to give you the refund, or he can also reject and he can give you partial. That is, one part can be used to defray your tax liabilities, and part can also be used can be refunded to you. So that is how.
So it's not always a full.
It's not always, depending on the case.
Depending on your liability. Yeah. So once you've submitted everything, your returns, and there are no liabilities in the accounts that you've presented, once approval is given, you get the entire amount. Or that's where you satisfied all the conditions. Where there are liabilities in the accounts presented, then the upfronts that you've paid will be used either partially or fully to clear the debts that you owe.
Will there be an instance where you are asked to pay more if it is determined that, for example, when you submitted your papers, you are supposed to make more payments towards your taxes, but the upfront payments that you made before is not enough to cover it?
Oh yes, there will be. But the moment you file your returns, it will show by itself that you have to pay. So if you have not even made the payment, you cannot qualify for the refund.
Because then there will be liabilities still outstanding,
for
and therefore you do not qualify to be given approval to get the upfront.
Yes.
It means that if what I'm understanding is correct, if you have not registered to pay VAT when you should be a registered VAT payer, at the point of entry of your goods when you want to clear them, that 12.5% will be applied on the goods that you're bringing, and you'll be made to pay for it. If you're able to, after the payment, get your papers together, register the company, register the business, register and go through all the documentations you need, and pay the taxes that are required of you, you will then be able to apply to the Commissioner General at the GRA to ask for a refund of your upfront payment of the VAT. And if your papers are looked at and you are found to be deserving, that 12.5% will be given back to you. Okay.
What more I wanted to add that at the point of clearing the goods, those goods first, yes, we said they should be taxable. They should be of a commercial value. So you are bringing it onto the markets for commercial purposes. And then also it should be 200,000 or above that figure. So those are...
So there's a threshold?
Yes.
Explain that to me.
The threshold is 200,000 and above. So if you import goods commercial value of 200,000 and above, it will attract. Less than 200 will not attract.
Even if it's for commercial purposes?
Yes. But in that wise, we will also be watching you. Should we see that, yes, you've done one less, the second time you've done less, now we'll start deducting, because we've seen that you are using it as a measure to dodge the payment of the tax.
Why was it set? Why was that threshold set in the first place?
So with the VAT Act, it pegged the threshold that enables one to register for VAT at 200,000 cedis. So that's in line with what's in the Act, the 200,000 threshold. So whatever supplies you are providing or goods you are selling, for you to register for VAT, you should have that annual turnover of 200,000.
Okay. So you keep referring to the Act. What happens, and perhaps this is not on the upfront payment, but because you're here to just educate the public on topical issues, what happens when an item on the list of taxable goods or people want that item taken off? What's the procedure to get an item off the taxable list?
So that they will not,
it will not attract tax.
That one, they have to apply to the Commissioner General before it can be done. If you apply to the Commissioner General and then justify that, yes, it can be taken off, fine. But this one is a policy. That should be taken from Parliament through Ministry of Finance before it will come. Because GRA cannot just come and say that this particular item is now exempt from VAT. Parliament have to enact that particular law on that item before it can come.
I think you have an idea where I'm going with this, with the conversations about sanitary pads attracting taxes and suggestions that perhaps we should consider taking it off the list. And that's why I ask you, how do you go through the process of removing an item, a taxable item from the list? Anita, would you like to add something?
So as my colleague said, it's in the Act. So for it to be taken out, it has to go through Parliament for there to be an amendment indicating that this item is now an exempt item. Until that is done, it's not within our power to take it out. This has the backing of the law. So since it's a legal issue, it has to go through Parliament for an amendment. And for it to be included in the list of exempt items.
Because I'm seeing from what you mentioned, the exempted items, machinery for the mines, fuel exempt, so petrol and diesel exempt. Anything that's for government use is exempted. The stuff that's heading towards the free zones are exempted, and those that are in transit are also some of the things that are exempted from VAT. But sanitary towels are still on the list as taxable goods. And so parliamentary intervention is needed. GRA cannot be amended.
GRA is an implementer of the law. We implement the law as they do the law, we implement it. So whatever is in the Act, that's what we follow and use to work. So if citizens see things that today they want this particular item to go off, they have the avenue to go through their various parliamentarians and get it to Parliament together with Ministry of Finance, and it will be done. But we are just implementers.
Word or food for thought there. But let's get to the substantive issue of the upfront payment. Have you engaged your stakeholders on this? Do they understand what is about to happen come June 6 when the implementation is expected to be effective?
Yes. So before implementation with GRE, with all our policies initiatives, we engage the relevant stakeholders and even the general public, which this one is one of the forums. So prior to our engagement in the media, we've had engagements with members of the Association of Ghana Industries. We've engaged members of GUTA, of Trade Association Ghana, members of Chartered Institute of Taxation, members of the freight forwarders, and even the media. We've engaged selection of the media to educate them and let them get the buy-in so that implementation will be smooth, and also for them to understand what it takes and to encourage their members who are outside the VAT tax nets to register to avoid paying the upfront.
The complaint for some is that the registration process has been stressful. Is that the case? And what's been done to make it even easier for those who just, for lack of time, who believe that it might take too long and so they will not have the time, to be encouraged to also join the tax payment effort?
Our process is very, very, very simple. You can go onto our portal, digital, www.taxpayerportal.com. You can go there, upload all your company registration documents and do the registration. If you also want to do face-to-face, you can visit any of our offices with your company registrations, and then we'll register you. Our process is very, very simple. Within an hour or two, we'll be done with your registration. Once you have everything done, if you have not gone to Registrar General to have a company registration, we'll ask you to go. But as you have all those documents with you, when you come, within just an hour or two, we can do all the process for you, and you go. You can also go to our portal and also do the registration. Registration is very, very, it's also free and very, very simple.
And yes, to add to that, we've gone digital, making our processes very simple, very convenient. You can sit within the confines of your office or home and then engage with the GRE. We also have a support system where you are using any of our portals, you have any challenge, you can call and our trained officers will assist you to go through. I'll share the number before we end the conversation.
Okay, Alaji Dauda is watching and he's asking a question from Adina Estate. How and when should one apply for a tax holiday?
Tax holiday. So if you want to apply for tax holiday, it depends on the particular sector that you are operating in. If you are operating in a sector that have a holiday, then you can. But if you are not in that particular sector, you cannot apply for it. Okay. So what you will do is, once you submit your financial statement to us, we have the law. We also know that yes, truly your we also know that yes, this particular sector have a holiday. If let's say you are a manufacturing company and you go and set up maybe in Kumasi or rural sectors, you have a particular tax that we can give you. Instead of 25%, you will be taking 25% of the 25% of as your corporate tax to be paid. So we encourage that if you want to fall within these holidays, you can either go and set up in the various rural areas and then you can take up. But it's not for every particular company.
Alaji, that's your answer, but the chief revenue officers are here to talk about the upfront payment to improve VAT compliance in the, with this implementation of the new measure. They insist that it's not a new tax, it's just to ensure compliance. So if you are not registered, if you are a registrable person who imports goods into the country, you're expected to have a VAT certificate and VAT documentation. If you do not have it, then those charges will be applied to you upfront at the point of clearing your goods. And the GRA is on an education drive. The officers insist that they've engaged the relevant authorities to make sure this happens. The process for registration of for VAT is pretty straightforward. They've told us about taxpayerportal.com, where you can upload your documents, or inviting you to visit the VRA's offices if you have all the qualifications. Remember, the Registrar of Companies needs you to be a registered company. If you have everything, they will support you to register. Only taxable goods are going to attract this upfront payment, and if you go through the registration process successfully afterwards, that money will be refunded to you. Of course, if you don't, then it's gone into the government coffers. Or if it is found that you are owed some money, a bit of it may be paid back to you. Remember, there's a threshold of 200,000 Ghana cedis, but if you go and do kululu, they'll come for you. Have I summarized everything that you came here to say? Your final words before we rise, okay?
So if, let's say, you are an individual who has also imported goods, maybe you import maybe tires that you want to use to do your own work, or chairs for your office, and it's above 200,000, you have to go into our portal, the ICOM score portal, and then apply to the Commissioner General. The Commissioner General, please, I'm bringing these goods in to use for my own purpose. It is not for sale. You will ask you, there are questions for you to answer. If you satisfy those conditions, ask in the portal, Commissioner General will waive the upfront for you. So that is how it operates.
Okay, good point to know. Your final word, Anita.
Yes, so we'd like to use this opportunity to educate your general public that if you are supposed to register for VAT, that's the time to do so, because once you don't register and then you are importing, you'll be made to pay the upfront. And then also generally for us to all comply with our tax obligations, as partners, we see our taxpayers or customers as partners. We need to collaborate to ensure that the needed revenue is roped into the coffers of the state so that it can be used to bring about the needed development that we all desire. So we need to do our bits, and then together we help build our nation. And then I indicated I'll share our contact number. Yeah. So we have a toll-free number, which is 0800 900 110. 0800 900 110. You can call us whilst using any of our platforms and you're having issues for assistance, or any other issue that you want clarification on. You can call that toll-free number. Also, you can get in touch with us via our email, which is info@gra.gov.gh. info@gra.gov.gh.
Thank you, Anita Anaba and Fiadufe Sedode. Both are Chief Revenue Officers at the GRA, educating us about the upfront payment measure being rolled out from the 6th of June 2023. You can catch this entire interview on our social media platforms, GTV Ghana. Any further information you may require, connect to the VRA via the toll-free number 0800 900 110, or send them an email at info@gra.gov.gh, and they will find some answers for you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for making the time, and we wish you a pleasant day. Breakfast is still live on GTV. There's some music coming up, and I just know that you would love Kessie when he steps up to the mic. Don't go anywhere. If you need to, take your phone along with you, because we are streaming